Hey up guys, what's going on? Welcome back to York City, but first just starting with that England thing I forgot to put in yesterday's episode. The best 11s came through at the beginning of the year and it did confirm my suspicions that Jadon Sancho's lack of appearances for England was due to Chris Wilder playing his Sheffield United formation at England. There was the proof. So that explains that. The impressive thing here, by the way, is the fact that the backup goalkeeper in England's best ever 11 over the past 10 years or so has only got one appearance, which implies that Jordan Pickford has only missed one game under Chris Wilder. I've already played 3 different goalkeepers. Also, shout out to Sean Coleridge, who's already on the bench for this. So since we last met with the irritating 1-1 draw with West Bromwich Albion, we've played 4 games that we should really be winning, and we have won all of them, although not massively convincingly on some of them. Cardiff, though, very dominant, actually. 2 goals in the first 4 minutes essentially settled that one. Vidal getting a third just before half-time, and then second half, we just coasted, really. Sheffield United was an entirely different affair, where Alois Silva, after 10, 11 games without scoring, decided to get a hat-trick, the culmination of which was a 94th minute penalty that won us the game. One of those games that I wish I'd done live. In fact, this double header with Huddersfield in the realms of Yorkshire would have been pretty useful as well. Maxon started that one off quite early on. Paulinho got one back quite late on, and then Wan-Bissaka gifted us the win in the 84th minute. I'm not 100% convinced I should have gone down as an own goal, though. The shot, in my mind, was on target anyway. But it was reflective of the match. We did have much the better of that, and I would have been angry if that had ended up in a draw. Fulham 3-1, away again. But, I mean, this is just stupid. Not much more than a month. We've played Fulham 3 times at Fulham. 3 goals in 6 minutes. 19th minute, 21st and 25th. Argueta got sent off 9 minutes after that. And we just held on to that for the majority of the match, where they got a late equaliser in the 81st minute. So, all fine, really. Southampton, though, of course, are our opponents today in the second part of this Carabao Cup, which we hold a tentative lead in. I'm pretty certain there is no away goals in this situation, so just basically don't lose and we should be alright. They've had a change in manager since we last met as well, because of that. I mean, it still worries me because I know about exactly what's about to happen. I've seen this script before. 5 games without a win, probably even more than that, because they were 5 games losing when we played them the first time. Anyway, I need to undo all the changes I made for the Fulham game, and here we are again. I'm tempted to do the defensive formation, but we'll stick with this for the time being. Everyone's mostly right. Vidal's on 94%, so we should be okay here. Plus, we'll go defensive against Man City anyway, so there we are. Hidalgo's in goal, Saxton, Coleridge, Rick, and Shaw on that back line. Grimes and Seri in the middle. Madeira, who has been the better of the options over there for the course of the season so far. I say that, he's actually fractionally worse than Ponce overall. Does have 7 goals though, and the man with slightly better recent form too. I did accept 35 million for him recently from Arsenal. That deal's just vanished, so I can only presume he's declined the contract from them, which I'm kind of glad of because I counted with 35 million and they accepted that straight away, so I probably could have got more. I also then declined another offer of 35 million from someone else in the hope that they might come back again, and I could accept a higher amount then. So, we'll see if he's still here at the end of this window. Vidal and Harrison finish off the attacking line along with Koita up front. Silva, whilst in a good run of form, I'm sticking with my more reliable striker, I'm going to say, in Koita. More experienced, anyway, that's for certain. Like, Alois plays very well in bursts. It's just whether or not this is going to be one of those bursts. You seem motivated by the team talk. Great work. I mean, I'm looking straight at their defensive line, and the fact they've got a Fafa in defence bodes well. Imagine being a defender called Fafa. Just think of the headlines you're inevitably going to make. I mean, so far so dull. Although I'll be honest, I'll take dull. It's not fun for you guys, but it's, it's a 0-0 and it'll see us through. Shaw on this side though. Vidal, backwards to Seri. It's a snowy pitch. Grimes, I did notice in the pre-match stuff it was -5. Good God. I'm not really sure how our South American contingent are going to be dealing with this weather right now. Probably not very well. Not sure how well that much is simulated, actually, in the game. I'd be surprised if it isn't, actually, considering how realistic they try to make this. They're probably all out there with 3 different layers of thermals and gloves and hats and whatever other paraphernalia they can possibly get to keep themselves warm in our wintry conditions that they are absolutely not used to. Harrison, Shaw. It's an amusing image. I'm not really sure why it's actually snow on the ground. It must be that cold for it to happen. I thought all Premier League grounds had to have under-soil heating these days. Oh, Saxon's taken a knock. That's not great. Although Castillo, I kind of forgot to mention it. Castillo and Alois, actually, in terms of players that play reasonably regularly, they're the best 2 average ratings for the seasons. They've got far too many players up right now. Right, so Southampton, my current stream save, have just scored with Dwight McNeil from Burnley, my previous stream save, I know how good he is. I think they've actually tweaked McNeil's potential down a little bit this year because he was absolutely phenomenal last year. But yeah, I mean 1-0's not the worst. If we can just nick a goal back again, it'll put things back in our favour. And they've actually saying, for once, my assistant manager is correct. I am not happy with that performance. Is their only shot on target? Of course it is. I told you I've seen this script before. Saxton's got a bruise. You know how I feel about bruises at this point. Just get it out of the game. It's a bruise, for crying out loud. It's not an injury. I've probably got 4 different ones in my own body right now just because of my own incompetence. I still function as a human being. Sort of. Coitus through. I mean, that was one of the worst shots I've seen. Vidal's on 6.3. Harrison's on 6.2. I mean, Harrison, the oldest Englishman, used to these conditions, is the one playing the worst. Ebersbach is back for the first time this season, seemingly. 3 different injuries for about 4 weeks have seen him out of everything between then and now. We're in a poor position if we're having to rely on Ebersbach to come in and do us. I mean, Ponce exists as well, so we'll swap up the left-hand side for good measure. I think this is just a highlight because I've made a change. But I might be proven wrong. I'm just really confused about how narrow we're defending right now. We're not narrow defenders. Our defensive width is standard. I'm actually going to tell them to defend wider. Jesus, that nearly went in. Yeah, I'm actually going to tell them to defend wider because they're just coming at us on the wings every time and we're just not there. We just have nobody out there. Right, 90 minutes gone. This will just go to extra time, I'm pretty certain. Oh, it might just go straight to penalties, actually. I think it said. Saxton. Seri's in the box. There's a late chat. Oh my god, late drama. Is it onside? Is it onside? I'm not seeing a review. It didn't look onside, but there's no review. We might be alright. Coita the saviour. Saxton whips this one in. Seri heads it. I think it's the defender that's marking the other York player in the box. I don't know who it is. Just at the very last, Castillo's going to come on for Bradley Saxton to A, waste time, B, make sure that injury possibly isn't as bad as it could get, and C, if the worst comes to worst, he's a better penalty taker. No further late drama, 1-1. It's a draw. I said don't lose, and we didn't, so that's bare minimum. You've done it, you're in the final, congratulations. Like, admittedly, it's probably Chelsea. You know what, Paco, I'm on your side here. You felt a defeat against me, having not been in the job for long, and giving up something in terms of experience. Do you have any post-match thoughts about that? I would say I don't care about that question. Too right. It's a nonsense question. I mean, he's been managing football far longer than I have, virtually. Admittedly, he's barely been in a job for more than 1 year at a time, but doesn't indicate great management. Tony, you've been available for about 2 games this year, and you've actually played in both of them. Thanks, James. Oh, transfer deadline. That reminds me. I've not really been massively active in this transfer window. Like, January windows are mostly about triggering release clauses more than anything else because everyone else's value is pretty much inflated. There is one goalkeeper. Bear in mind that, like, Hidalgo and Dutra are about the same level, and I have said, like, if we were going to push on to the highest levels, you know, winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, we are probably going to need a goalkeeper that's the tier above. Like, they're great, but they're, like, great for a Europa League team, which we are currently. There's a brilliant young goalkeeper coming through at Vallecano. They wanted 29 million for him. So naturally we bought this guy from Banfield for his 5 million release clause. 2-part reason. 1, 15 determination is great off the bat. And 2, 1 eccentricity. Yes. It's the double whammy on goalkeepers that I like. Obviously all these regular stats are fine for what he is right now. But determination 15, eccentricity 1. We've got the current Argentine number 1 goalkeeper. I think he might be the future one considering his potential ability here. Like, you compare them to Dutra where their potential abilities are maxed out where they are. Same with Hidalgo. If that's 3-star, I'll give him a face. If they're 3-star, he is minimum 4. He's got to get there first, and I'm not 100% certain I've got enough years to do it in before we get to that point, but we'll find out, won't we? Yep, Chelsea in the final. There's the inbox confirmation. And they have indeed moved the Fulham game earlier as a result, which means we play Fulham for the 4th time in just over 2.5 months. Also, we play Chelsea in the Premier League directly afterwards. Why is that always a thing? I'm completely baffled by the fact it's included all my World Cup qualifying matches after this and not any other Premier League teams. By the way, that's our group. Latvia, Bulgaria, Russia and Bosnia are our group. It's actually a reasonably tough World Cup group, qualifying-wise. Russia in there, Bosnia, 2 teams that you might expect to squeak in to the World Cup at the very least. Latvia, Bulgaria, fair enough. But yeah, Russia and Bosnia can be quite handy on that day. Obviously, Italy in the International League semi-final as well. We knew about that one. I might actually bring you that at the end of the year. Got to get there first, though. Now, the Euro Cup actually is something that's on the horizon as well. There's a registration here, so I suspect this is when the first knockout round is going to be happening around here. I don't think the draw for the second round happens till mid-February, So I think the second knockout round actually happens after the Carabao Cup final. Hopefully it is anyway. I feel like I should just mention in regards to the transfer window, the reason why I'm not really going for players is because I don't have space for them, just registration-wise, particularly foreign ones. If Valencia do come in for Maxons for 31 million, I'll take that. Like, I've got the money to bring in players, I just don't have the registration space. If I don't sign anyone, what it essentially means is I have £40 million to poach every single youth intake player that takes my fancy. By the way, if you're not doing that, if you've still got money in the bank after January and you're not doing that, do it. Right, so with identical recent forms, this should be an interesting contest. Admittedly, they've had the edge over us in the past and they are a far better team overall. Tottenham have refound their form, by the way, as well. They're back at the top. Chelsea have slipped off slightly. We do have an option, of course, to go back into third if we win this. Because of goal difference, a draw will only put us ahead of Man United. But then they'll still have a game in hand on us anyway, so largely irrelevant. But with Saxton just coming back from that injury he got in the last match, he's no longer injured, but his fitness level's not quite up to scratch to be starting the match. He'll still be there for emergencies. The changes are for this match are basically just Ponce starts on the left, Castillo will start over Saxton, and Dutra will start in goal. Teco in the defensive role. Apparently he doesn't get on with Sarri. I don't know why. So yeah, Man City have a pretty decent team. And Ezekiel Barco. So, I never really mentioned this, but they signed a defender called Jamaica, which seems a little bit unfair to have an entire nation in your defence, but alright. Problem with teams like Man City is it's hard to tell whether or not they've rotated, because they have very good options in all the positions. Sarri's got a free kick early in this game though, and, well, he's converted it. I talk about, every time Sarri gets a free kick, I'm on edge, because I know he can score them, and he does do it with alarming frequency for opponents. Not alarming for me, it's wonderful for me. You love to see it. But yeah, we are at home, and Man City, Liverpool really, the other one Tottenham as well at this stage, I would say. Probably the only three teams I would play cautiously at home against. There's some very good teams out there, but at home, there's only really three teams I would argue cautious is the, mentality for it really. Courage, Sergio, essentially the ones with the most lethal of offences, like City, Liverpool, and, well, particularly Tottenham these days, with the two best strikers in world football, in my opinion. Rodrigo. There might be other brilliant strikers in other nations, actually. I've not really had too much of a look. Pretty certain Real Madrid have a sensational striker up front as well. I think he was third in New Gen, third in World Player of the Year. Rodrigo's nearly equalised. Clemente, I think his name is. Once we get to, Champions League and facing off against him, I'm sure I'll highlight him. And as the first half disappears, it's not gone completely. Oh, I hate it when this happens. Completely mugs me right off. Bernardo Bender, God's sake. The second I opened my mouth and there was a highlight actually incoming, I knew what was about to happen. Oh wait, but that's actually Bernardo's goal. What? Oh, it just goes over Bender's head. Dutra's just been absolutely thrown off there. So they've scored from a cross, basically. Which, to be fair, if that's how Man City are going to score, it means you're having a pretty good game against them, isn't it, really? Koistra's, I thought about it making a complete mess of that. I think that might have been a was that over the line highlight as he nearly took it over his own line there. Yeah, it was. I'm so glad these are in the game. What worth of everyone's time, I nearly said that is. That's not English. Courage, though, can come forward with this. Teco, Grimes. That's nicely worked, really, actually. Just quick passing play. Avoids the oncoming press as well. Koita's made Tanaka a fall, though. And Koita, oh my God, that's gone in. I gotta say, my eyes weren't really helping me there. I thought that was going wide. See, I'm normally quite good at predicting trajectories there, thanks to physics degree. But Koita here just about gets someone in the far post. That is wonderful work from him. 2-1. And we're back in front after Silva's freak cross goal. And honestly, on the balance of play, you got to say it's reasonably deserved. Now, I thought that might have gone straight to Koita there. I thought he was going to intercept that, but he didn't. Dominic on the ball. Bernardo. I'm so used to calling Dominic for my stream save. I have him at Southampton. Paolo. Koistra. I mean, I can say Szoboszlai. It's not super hard. It's just easier to say Dominic. Let's be real. Castillo. Just straight to them because I am fed up of the fullback thing. I am absolutely fed up of the fullback thing. Can we please, in next year's engine, remove the piece of code that says fullbacks must give the ball to the opponent? Because this is honestly nonsense. That's an assist, is what that is. That's just straight up an assist from my defender. It's not a clearance because it's not gone up the other end of the pitch. That's just straight up an assist from Castillo there. I wonder if they're from the same nation. I wonder where Paolo's from. I think Castillo's Peruvian. How Felix on the ball. Alvarez. Oh, Harrison didn't quite get that. I mean, when you're relying on Jack Harrison against Man City, slightly worrying, isn't it? No offence to the lad, but come on. Felix, like he's a handy fill-in player, but come on. They've scored 2 goals from 3. Well, they scored 1 goal from a cross. They've had no clear-cut or half chances, and they've scored 3 goals. I mean, pressing, just to point this one out right now, by the way, more urgent, get stuck in. Defenders just acted like Bernardo Silva wasn't even there. Like, I've played a lot of Football Manager in the past couple of weeks. I suppose I got a little bit used to Hertha Berlin bailing me out in the 90th minute time and time again. But Ponce, Koita, Grimes, spoilers if you haven't watched that video yet, Castillo, Grimes, that's nearly sensational. Bernardo into the box, 4-2 is it? Yeah, of course it is. I'm pretty certain the game just regarded that as an off-target shot. The game's genuinely broken. Someone replay that on the right side because my stats on there and they were definitely up when that went in. I mean, he's booked, so let's get him off as well. Saxton's available to take over Castillo's 6.3. Well, just a casual reminder again, ignore bad morale on certain players. It's just something the skin does from time to time. They're not actually bad morale for the most part. Escobar is, but he's not on the bench. Yeah, he wants to start games, but let's be honest, he's not getting anywhere near the team as things go. He's too injury prone, really, is my problem with Escobar. He's a solid striker, and he was definitely brilliant value for money when we brought him in the first year here, but now we're challenging for Europe and what have you. Doesn't quite cut it, particularly as he gets injured for 3 games at a time, often. Koita, we've got 1 back. I'm staying cautious because, let's be honest, we've seen how dangerous they are when they're not even trying. I mean, that's beautiful work by Koita, actually, just staying on side to get that ball. I might just come out of it a little bit more, just go a little bit more balanced. I mean, something might happen. No, I don't want to go to tactics. The tactics are okay at this point. Demand more is what I wanted to do. One person's pressured. Waste of everyone's time. I swear to God, sometimes the game just decides who's going to win the game before the match starts. Like, the Stoke game was the prime example of that. Like, they just decide who's going to win the game before the game starts, and then, then actually simulate the game properly in terms of who's going to be dominant and what have you, but we'll fix the goals just to make sure the right team win from what they wanted to beforehand. This feels like one of those games. I'm pointing out it's the one of those days situation. I don't do it often. I did it against Stoke and I've done it here. I think that's the first time in 3 years of the Premier League I've actually done that. I don't think we've actually had games like this in the Premier League so far this year. Actual year, not season year. I mean, 64, 66, 69. Yeah, I mean, blatant. Anyway, Carabao Cup final in about a month's time. That's the obvious target. Oh, it's actually put the second knockout rounds in the schedule now. So yeah, it is directly afterwards. I'll probably only bring you the second half of those no matter what happens, particularly in the early parts of the knockouts. Just because I don't want to dominate the episodes with 2 legs of everything. Carabao Cup final will be standalone. It's a cup final. I will be dressed appropriately. Until then, ta-ra.